You have tried to change your mind in the daylight. You have set intentions in the morning only to watch them crumble by evening. You have forced positive thoughts while negative ones waited patiently in the wings. You have read the books, tried the techniques, downloaded the apps, started the journals, and still, somehow, you find yourself here, lying awake, mind churning, wondering why transformation requires such exhausting effort when everyone else seems to manage it so easily. I see you there. Phone held above your face in the dark, jaw clenched without realizing it. That familiar tightness in your chest that has been there so long you have forgotten what it feels like to breathe without it. You should be asleep. You have things to do tomorrow, but your thoughts will not quiet, and some part of you keeps searching, keeps hoping that maybe this time, maybe tonight, you will find the thing that finally works. You know this feeling, don't you? Here is what I want you to know. You are not broken. You have not failed. You have simply been trying to plant seeds in the heat of day, wondering why nothing takes root, no matter how hard you work the soil. Tonight, I am going to show you a different way. Not a new technique to add to your pile, not another demand on your already exhausted willpower, something far simpler. Something that has been available to you every single night of your life, waiting quietly at a threshold you have crossed 1,000 times without knowing its power. Stay with me. Before I show you what you have overlooked, let me first honor what you have endured. You wake up each morning with resolve. Today will be different. Today you will think clearly, stay calm, be present. Today you will not spiral. Today you will not replay that conversation for the 100th time. Today you will finally be the person you know you can be. And for a few hours, maybe, it works. You hold it together. You breathe through the tension. You catch the negative thought and redirect it, just like the books told you to. But by afternoon, something slips. By evening, the old patterns have crept back in. And by the time you lie down to sleep, you are not the person you intended to be that morning. You are tired, disappointed, wondering what is wrong with you that you cannot seem to make anything stick. You have felt this, haven't you? This cycle, this endless pushing of the boulder up the hill only to watch it roll back down before sunrise. The Sunday evening dread that creeps in before the week has even begun. The 3 am waking with your mind already racing through problems you cannot solve in the dark. The way you tell everyone you are fine, you are good, you are doing well, while something inside you quietly whispers that you are barely holding it together. You try so hard during the day, you use every ounce of willpower you possess, and still every morning the same anxious thoughts are waiting for you, the same tightness in your chest, the same quiet dread. Isn't it exhausting? And underneath it all, there is a fear you do not speak aloud, a suspicion that perhaps you are simply not capable of change, that something is fundamentally broken in you that cannot be fixed no matter how many videos you watch, no matter how many techniques you try, no matter how hard you work on yourself. You do not have to pretend anymore. Not here, not with me. I want you to hear me clearly. That fear is a lie. You are not broken. You have never been broken. You have simply been using the wrong method at the wrong time. You have been planting in the heat of day, fighting the sun, exhausting yourself in battle against your own resistance, and no one ever told you there was another way. Until now. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young apprentice who lived with an old gardener at the edge of a village. The apprentice was eager, ambitious. He wanted to learn everything quickly so he could prove himself and move on to greater things. But the old gardener moved slowly, spoke rarely, and had one habit the apprentice could not understand. Every evening, just as the sun began to set, The old man would walk to his garden with a pouch of seeds, and there, in the fading light, he would plant. Not in the morning like every other farmer in the village, not at dawn when the light was fresh and the day stretched long ahead. At dusk, when the work could barely be seen, when darkness was minutes away. Finally, the apprentice could not contain himself. "Master," he said, "why do you plant at twilight? Everyone knows seeds should be planted in the morning. You waste the entire day and then work when you can barely see. This makes no sense." The old gardener smiled the way someone smiles when they have been waiting for a question. "Come," he said, "sit." Seeds planted in the heat of day must fight the sun. Their first experience of life is struggle. The soil is warm, the air is dry, and everything asks them to defend themselves before they have even begun to grow. They survive, yes, but they are always fighting. He paused. But seeds planted at dusk spend their first hours in cool darkness. No sun to fight, no heat to resist. They rest in the quiet of the earth, and something happens that you cannot see. In that darkness, without struggle, without effort, they begin to root. By the time the sun finds them the next morning, they are already anchored. They have done their deepest work in the night. The apprentice listened, but he was proud. He thought he knew better. So the next morning he woke before dawn and planted his own row of seeds in the early light. He would show the old man that the traditional way was best. Both rows sprouted. The apprentice felt vindicated. "See, my seeds grow just fine." But as the weeks passed, something became clear. The apprentice's seeds grew, but they were thin, fragile. When wind came, they bent too far. When drought came, they wilted first. They had spent so much energy fighting in those early days that they never developed depth. The old man's dusk-planted seeds grew strong, resilient, deeply rooted. They had done their foundational work in the darkness, in the cool, in the quiet, and now nothing could move them. The apprentice finally understood. "Master," he said, "this is not really about seeds, is it?" The old gardener smiled again. "The mind is the same. What you try to plant in the heat of conscious effort must fight your resistance, your doubts, your old habits, your endless thinking. It struggles before it can root. But what you plant in the twilight of sleep, in those last soft moments before you cross the threshold, that roots in darkness, beyond the reach of your doubting mind, by the time your conscious thoughts return in the morning, the seed has already taken hold." The apprentice never planted at dawn again. Let that sink in for a moment. This story is not really about an apprentice. It is about you. You have been planting at dawn. Every morning you wake with intentions. Every day you try to force new thoughts into a mind that resists them. Every night you go to bed exhausted from the effort, and every morning the old patterns are waiting for you, unmoved. You have been the apprentice, proud, determined, working so hard in the heat of day, and wondering why nothing seems to take root, no matter how much effort you pour into the soil. Does this land for you? Can you feel the recognition? But here is what you may have missed. Every single night you cross a threshold. You pass from waking into sleep, and in that passage, in those soft minutes before you lose consciousness, your mind opens in a way it never does during the day. Let me explain what is happening in those moments. Imagine your conscious mind as a gatekeeper standing at the entrance to a great library. During the day, this gatekeeper is vigilant. Every thought that tries to enter is questioned, analyzed, often turned away. Is this true? Is this realistic? Can I really believe this? The gatekeeper is skeptical, protective. He stands at the door with his arms crossed, examining every idea that approaches. But at night, as you drift toward sleep, something shifts. And Gradekeeper grows drowsy, his shoulders relax, his eyes begin to close. And in those moments, thoughts can slip past him into the library where they are shelved, remembered, integrated without resistance. Can you see it? The drowsy gatekeeper, stepping aside at last. This is not metaphor, this is what happens. The ancient yogis called this state the threshold between waking and sleeping. They developed an entire practice around it called Yoga Nidra, the yoga of sleep. They understood that in this liminal space, the conscious mind relaxes its grip and the subconscious becomes soft, receptive, ready to receive whatever you offer it. They called the practice of planting intention in this state Sankalpa, a resolve placed in fertile ground. The Buddhists understood this too. They taught that mental imprints form through repetition and that the moments before sleep are when those imprints sink deepest into the mind. Even the Stoics knew. Marcus Aurelius ended each day with a practice of reviewing his actions and setting his intention for the morning. Seneca examined his mind before sleep, not with judgment but with care. Isn't it remarkable? Separated by centuries and continents, they all discovered the same truth. You may not have known their names, but you have felt what they described, that softening at the edge of sleep, that moment when the thoughts stop racing and something quieter begins. Across traditions, across thousands of years, the wise have understood what you are only now discovering. The threshold of sleep is sacred ground, and you have been crossing it every night of your life without knowing what you carried with you. Hello? Are you still with me? This is the part that matters most. You have been planting seeds at that threshold every single night. You simply did not know it. The question was never whether your mind was being programmed while you slept. The question is what you have been planting. Think about it, really think about it. What do you carry into sleep each night? The last thing you scrolled on your phone, the news headline that made your stomach tighten, the replayed conversation where you said the wrong thing, running on loop one more time, the worry about tomorrow that you cannot do anything about tonight, the argument you never resolved, the mental checklist that keeps growing no matter how many things you cross off, the face of someone you miss, the weight of something you regret. These are the seeds you have been sowing, night after night, not intentionally, not consciously, but the subconscious mind does not care about your intentions. It receives what you offer, and what you offer in those final moments before sleep, it takes as instruction. This is why you wake up anxious before your feet hit the floor. This is why the same thoughts greet you every morning, like old friends you never invited. This is why change has felt so impossibly hard. You have been doing the work, you have been trying, but you have been working in the heat of day while undoing it all at the threshold of night. You have been planting the wrong seeds at the most powerful time without even knowing you were planting at all. Isn't it so? But here is the good news within this truth. If the mechanism has been working all along, then you do not need to create anything new. You simply need to redirect what is already happening. The soil is fertile. The threshold is open every night. You have been crossing it faithfully for years. You just need to choose different seeds. You do not need to take notes. You do not need to memorize anything. Just receive what I am about to give you. This is simpler than anything you have tried before. It does not require an app. It does not require willpower. It does not require you to fight your thoughts or force positivity or do anything that feels like effort. It requires only this, that you arrive at sleep intentionally. There are 4 movements to this practice. This is how you program your mind while you sleep, not through force, through intention. The first movement is releasing the day. In the final hour before you intend to sleep, begin to let go. No screens, no stimulation, no solving of problems. The day is done. Whatever did not get finished will wait for tomorrow. Whatever worried, you will still be there in the morning if it matters. But tonight, you are not available. Tonight, you are preparing the soil. You are allowed to stop. You are allowed to let the day be over even if it was not perfect. You are allowed to leave problems unsolved. You are allowed to rest before you feel you have earned it. You have permission for this. Let the residue of the day settle like sediment in water. You do not need to force it, simply stop stirring. The second movement is preparing the soil. Lie down, let your body settle. Feel the weight of yourself against the bed. You are being held. You do not need to hold yourself up anymore. Let the mattress take you. Let gravity do its work. Close your eyes. Notice the shift that begins to happen. The conscious mind, the gatekeeper, begins to soften. The thoughts that raced all day begin to slow. You are approaching the threshold. Can you feel it beginning already? The third movement is choosing the seed. This is the essential moment. Stay with me here. You are going to give your subconscious mind a single simple impression to carry into the night. Not a demand, not an affirmation shouted at yourself, not a complicated visualization or a list of goals. One seed. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel? Not what do I want to achieve? Not what do I want to fix? How do I want to feel? And let the answer come simply. I am at peace. I am enough. I am healing. I release this. I trust myself. Whatever feels true for you, whatever you most need to root in the darkness of your mind, let that be your seed. Hold it gently. Not like a fist gripping something it is afraid to lose, like an open palm offering something to the earth. There is no effort here. There is no forcing. You have felt this difference, haven't you? The difference between trying to believe something and simply letting something be true. This is the second kind. This is surrender, not struggle. The fourth movement is releasing into the dark. And now you let go. You do not repeat the thought 100 times. You do not try to hold it in your mind as you fall asleep. You do not monitor yourself to make sure you are doing it right. You simply offer the seed and you let sleep take you. The gardener does not stare at the soil all night. He does not dig up the seeds to check if they are growing. He trusts the darkness. He trusts the process. He goes to sleep knowing that what he planted will root and he will see the evidence in time. This is your work now, not to force growth, not to monitor progress, just to plant, just to trust, just to rest. You do not need to do this perfectly. You have permission to trust this process without understanding every part of it. The subconscious is forgiving. It receives what is offered. And if you fall asleep before you feel like you've finished the practice, that is not failure, that is success. You crossed the threshold with intention. That is all that matters. Does this make sense? I want to tell you one more thing before we close. A student once asked a master how something as soft as a thought, repeated at sleep, could change something as solid as the mind. The master took him to a river where water had carved a smooth groove through ancient stone. Look, the master said, the water is softer than the stone, but the water is patient. Night after night, drop after drop, year after year, the stone never stood a chance. Your old patterns feel solid. I know they do. They have been with you for years. They greet you in the morning and follow you through the day and lie down with you at night. They feel permanent, unchangeable, part of who you are. They are not. They are only well-worn grooves, and you are the water now. This is not hope. This is physics. This is how change actually works. Patient, gentle, unstoppable. Not through force, not through fighting, through patience, through repetition, through the gentle persistence of one seed planted at the threshold, night after night, until what once seemed immovable has been quietly, completely transformed. And so we arrive at the truth you came here to remember. You do not need another technique. You do not need more willpower. You do not need to try harder or fix yourself or become someone different. You simply need to plant at dusk. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too far gone. You are simply someone who has been using the wrong door. And now you have found the right one. Everything you need is already here. The threshold you cross every night, the softening of the gatekeeper, the receptive soil of your deeper mind. It has been waiting for you all along. You are not someone who struggles to change. You were someone who did not know where change happens. Now you know. You are the gardener. Tonight you enter the garden at dusk. You carry with you one seed, chosen with care, and as the darkness comes, you will plant it, not with effort, not with force, but with the trust of someone who finally understands how things grow. This is your practice now. This is your power. Not something you learned from me, but something you remembered, something you have carried all along. You have always been capable of this. May you find, in the quiet before sleep, the peace you have been searching for in the noise of day. May the seeds you plant tonight root deep beyond the reach of your doubting mind. May you wake tomorrow and feel something different, something softer, something new beginning to grow in you. And may you remember, whenever you forget, that the most powerful work is not done in the light, through struggle, through force. It is done in the darkness, through rest, through trust, through surrender. You are whole. You have always been whole. And tonight, you will sleep like someone who finally believes it. If this truth arrived at the right moment for you, leave the word peace in the comments. Let it be your first seed. Let it be your offering to the dark. I will see you in the next one. Rest well.